What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over several quick tips for Fortnite's Star Wars update. If you've been playing a lot and watching a lot of content on the update, you probably know of a lot of these, but likely not all. And if you haven't been playing as much or paying attention as much, this video will definitely help you get up to speed. If you did learn something or find this video helpful, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Comment down below which tip you didn't know or what you think of the Star Wars update, and let's get right into it. So for starters, this is very basic, but the Chewbacca NPC is on the map and he spawns at a different Star Wars camp every game. The camp he's at will be marked by blue smoke, and you can see this when you're on the battle bus and kind of plan accordingly, maybe land in an area to get him, or if he happens to be near where you're going to land anyways, take advantage of that. And when you eliminate the 2 stormtroopers at the camp, the Chewbacca NPC will automatically be hired to you for free. And he'll function as a supply specialist NPC, and he'll also drop you a Wookiee bowcaster when you get him. So he'll become an NPC and drop you a bowcaster, and all you got to do is eliminate 2 stormtroopers. And since he's a supply NPC, he will give you shockwaves if you're holding them out. And for whatever reason, in Chapter 5, I have not had the best experience with the supply NPCs, and have just had them giving me random stuff, even if I'm holding shockwaves out. From my experience, the Chewbacca NPC was the most consistent at giving me shockwaves when I was holding them if my stack wasn't full. So that's really great. Even though you get him for free, if you go to hire another NPC, it will dismiss him. And unlike other NPCs, you cannot interact with him or hire him once he has been dismissed by you hiring a different NPC. So even though you don't hire him, he does take your hired NPC slot. If you're playing team game modes, you could have Chewbacca and one of your teammates could have another NPC, but each player can only have one, even though Chewbacca is free. And even if Chewbacca isn't at a Star Wars camp, those camps will still be there, and visiting them can be pretty helpful because their chests do drop heals, and each chest will drop either an E11 or a Wookiee bowcaster, and the Wookiee bowcaster is a very good weapon. When you hold down the shoot button, it like charges up. And if you have this weapon fully charged, it will do explosive damage, which is great. And it just hits very hard at 198 damage for a fully charged headshot. This explosive damage is really good at getting people out from behind cover or out of bushes, but it also can do splash damage to cars. So if you have anybody that's just like playing off a car really hard, or you don't like playing against cars, you can just fully charge a Wookiee bowcaster shot and get splash damage on the person in the car. If they're close enough to where the explosion is, like depending on where you hit on the car, if you hit very far away from them, they might not take damage. But if you hit near the person in the car, they will do splash damage, or they will take splash damage from a fully charged Wookiee bow shot. This would be great in squads because you could just, easily hit a bunch of people in the car and get them all weak. You can also use the Wookiee bowcaster for fishing. I had people tell me this in my comments, and I thought it was going to be like when you fish with grenades and that you just get small fry, but you actually can get floppers and shield fish from fishing with the Wookiee bowcaster. So you already have a great weapon, but if you're ever near any fishing spots, you can also get heals off of it, which is pretty helpful. The Darth Vader lightsaber cannot be used for fishing, and the Darth Vader lightsaber is the only lightsaber currently in the game. The Darth Vader NPC is at the North Island on the edge of the map where Solid Snake was last season. And Fortnite recently updated him to be a little bit easier to kill. So if you haven't been to him in a few days, I think he has like 300 less health now. So he's a bit easier to eliminate. And when you eliminate him, he will drop his Darth Vader lightsaber. And the special ability for the Darth Vader lightsaber is that it can be thrown. It doesn't really have a good mobility option or any of the other force powers, but you can throw it by holding your aim down sights and your shoot button at the same time. And the range on the thrown lightsaber is about 20 meters. You can actually use this thrown attack to go through shield bubbles and builds if you position yourself and the target in between you and the lightsaber on its way back. Like if you just throw it at a shield bubble, it's not going to work. But if you throw it past the bubble and then kind of put yourself in between, I guess if you put the enemy in between you and the lightsaber coming back to you, it will hit them through the shield bubble, and it can hit through builds as well in build mode. This is very niche. I feel like when trying to line this up, you might just get attacked by somebody in the shield bubble. They might just run out and fight you, and then you're just kind of looking silly waiting for the lightsaber to come back. But that is something that's worth knowing. As far as the block goes, it works like other lightsabers where it can block a certain amount of bullets, and then once it's taken too much damage, you can just start like melting the person. So I wouldn't recommend doing this. I don't think it's very good. And there's a lot of very high DPS weapons in the game right now, like the Nemesis AR, the Thunderburst SMG, the Harbinger SMG. All of these weapons will be insane at like countering lightsabers block, and the lightsaber user I think will take a lot of damage. And there's also a lot of items that it can and can't block as well. The Wookiee bowcaster shots can be blocked by Darth Vader's lightsaber, but if it's a fully charged shot, then the lightsaber user will take damage. It can block Zeus lightning, but it can't block splash damage from the Zeus lightning. So if someone throws it at you directly when you're doing the block, you'll be fine. But if they throw it at the ground next to you, then you will take damage even though you're blocking. As far as the Hades chains go, the lightsaber can block the regular attack, but not the pull attack. So if you're using chains versus a lightsaber user, just go ahead and pull them. And I think the Hades chains is just a much better melee weapon than the lightsaber actually is. The range of attack on these weapons is very different. The Hades chain has about 16 meters of range on its swung attack, the regular attack, and the lightsaber has 5-meter range. So Hades chains is just much better. I feel like it also does more damage with one combo of the Hades chains, like 3 attacks, being enough to eliminate somebody with more range, and I feel like it's faster. And it's also a much easier weapon to find because the God chests no longer drop 2 weapons. With the God items returning to the loot pool in the Star Wars update, the God chests that you can find in the Underworld or Mount Olympus biome, these are back to giving you a weapon, a God item, and heal. So you could get like a DMR, wings, and minis, or you could get like a drum gun, Hades chain, and a big pot. Like it is that sort of like setup. It gave 2 weapons during the Avatar update when the God items were gone, but with the God items being back, God chests no longer drop 2 weapons. So that's definitely something to keep in mind if you land at any of the new areas. They've been in a while, but you know what I mean. There also were several NPCs that I think are useful that were added in the Star Wars update, with the Spirit Hunter Seiko NPC being at Rebel's Roost, and she sells a purple gatekeeper shotgun and a hand cannon. The dummy NPC is at the gas station west of Lavish Lair, and he sells shockwave grenades and a purple Thunderburst SMG. Lavendra is at Classy Courts, and she sells a Reaper sniper rifle. And then finally, the Anwar NPC is at the junk area near Reckless Reels, and he sells a tactical AR and Chug Splash, so he could definitely be pretty helpful if you are desperate for heals in that area. And then I think the other ones just sell top tier items. A purple gatekeeper shotgun early on is amazing, especially if you're able to get drum mag. Shockwave NPCs are always important, but also selling a purple Thunderburst SMG is great because that's also one of the better weapons in the game. And then same is true of Lavendra selling a Reaper sniper rifle. It's just a very high tier, high value item. And then one final change I want to talk about is the hotspots. These are areas that are going to be gold on your map. The name will be gold. And in the past, it was 2 POIs per game were gold every game. So far in Chapter 5, though, for some reason, only Snooty Steps, Pleasant Piazza, and the factory in between Pleasant and Fencing, those were the only areas that could get drones. But with the Star Wars update, they fixed it, and it's now back to being 2 random POIs per game. So you might get like Pleasant Piazza and Lavish Lair, or Classy Courts and Reckless Railways. These drones can populate a lot of different POIs now, which is great because these drones are pretty helpful. They can drop decent rarity loot, and they also drop a good amount of heals, which is just good, especially in early game, because you can just stock up on heals really quickly and not have to worry as much about like, oh, I found 1 big pot, should I save it or not? Like, just makes getting heals a lot easier and decent weapons a lot easier. So if you see a gold POI on your map and you are considering landing there anyways, maybe take advantage of it, because now the hotspots are in more areas and it's more often that you're going to be able to take advantage of them. These seemingly cannot spawn at the Greek god POI. So like Underworld, Graham Gate, Mount Olympus, and Brawler's Battlegrounds, I don't believe can be hotspots, but every other named POI can be a hotspot, and it'll just be random game to game. But that is going to be it for this video. As always, if you found it helpful, informative, interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe, comment down below if you did enjoy this. I know a lot of these tips can be somewhat obvious to people who have been grinding or watching a lot of videos since the updates have been out, but that's not everybody. There's a lot of people who aren't, keeping up with Fortnite content regularly, so I feel like making a recap video like this a few days after an update is pretty beneficial, just going over as much quick tips as possible. And when I've made videos like this earlier on in the season with the Midas update and Avatar update, people really seem to like those. So let me know if you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.